money in taxes, then it tends to become a more fun and a more exciting process ultimately. And so, yeah, today, as Christina mentioned, I'm going to show you how to complete a trust tax return. Usually, my advice is don't try this at home, right? Get a tax professional, get somebody in your corner, like our firm, that can go ahead and assist you accordingly. Because some of this stuff can be pretty complex, right? Albert Einstein, one of the greatest philosophers and, one of the greatest people on the planet, he said the income tax, right? Not anything else, but the income tax is the most complicated thing in the universe, right? Albert Einstein, the scientist, the mathematician, the genius, probably the most intelligent individual that we've ever known, according to ancient history and all of that. He himself, right, said that the income tax is the most complicated thing in the universe, right? Not just the world, but in the universe. And so, with that being said, this can be pretty complex. I'm not saying that you can't do this stuff on your own or anything like that, but there is a reason why you have professionals in your corner that can assist you when it comes to complicated matters such as these. And so let me go ahead and share, for those who don't know who I am, let me just go ahead and introduce myself real quick. So I'll just do a quick intro slide. And so my name is Jeff Badu. I'm a licensed certified public accountant. I was born and raised in Ghana, came to the US when I was 8 years old. And fast forward, I attended the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, where I received my bachelor's degree in accounting as well as my master's degree in accounting. I went on to become a parallel entrepreneur and a wealth multiplier, and then became the founder and CEO of Badu Enterprises LLC, which is a multinational conglomerate in the finance industry. And what we do is we provide a suite of financial services, including our marquee company, which is Badu Tax Services. And that's the firm that provides tax preparation, tax planning, and tax representation services to individuals and businesses across all 50 states in the US. And we also have clients that are physically based in over 25 countries at the moment. We also have Badu Investments LLC, which is our real estate investment company. What we do is we acquire apartment buildings or rental properties, primarily in Northwest Indiana at the moment. And then why we're here today really is I'm very passionate about financial literacy. So we have the Badu Foundation that teaches, financial literacy through the communities. We do different workshops, different events. And then lastly, my purpose in life is to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle. All right. And so let's go right to it, right? To the trust tax return. Basically, this is the 1041, right? This is the form that we use for trust. And so what I'm going to do today for the next 15 minutes or so, I do always love leaving time for Q&A, right? For you to be able to ask questions, things of that nature. I will also share my contact information at the end. But basically, this is what a trust tax form looks like. This is just the form that you use to complete your trust, right? And I do understand the three trust setup and everything like that. So this is more so for the business trust and the family trust. All right. And so the 1041 is the form that we utilize to basically file a trust tax return. Now, you notice also for estates. So God forbid, when somebody passes away, they become a business entity and they form what we call an estate. And so when you have an estate, then that estate distributes assets to beneficiaries and heirs accordingly. And so they use the same form. So you'll notice that this form is for both estates and trusts. But today, of course, the primary focus is going to be on trust. All right. And so this is going to be more so for your business trust and then your family trust. For those that are filing a tax return for if you have a foundation, private, a charity, whatever the case may be, then you're using a different form, right? You're usually using the 990 form if that's the route that you go. And so this one is going to be for your business trust and then for your family trust. All right. So typically with these trusts, right, they're irrevocable trusts. When you have an irrevocable trust, they are complex trusts. So there's really two major types of trust. Of course, there's thousands and thousands of types of trust themselves. But when we talk about the two major types of trust, there's going to be a simple trust and then there's a complex trust, right? And so a simple trust is typically one that's revocable. So this is like your living trust. You hear about somebody, hey, they set up a trust to own their bank account and everything like that. Well, they're usually talking about a simple trust. All right. And so with the simple trust, you're actually not required to file a tax return unless this is in the form of distributing assets to beneficiaries. All right. And so when you have a simple trust, if you're just setting up a trust and you're just using it for the sake of passing down wealth from generation to generation, because we know that a will does not avoid probate, right? The annoying court process of distributing assets to your beneficiaries. A trust, however, does avoid probate, right? When you have assets placed in a trust, then you don't have to go through that annoying court process of a judge being appointed and then distributing the assets accordingly. And so what basically, if somebody decides to set up a simple trust, that simple trust is usually a revocable trust. And so it usually does not require a tax return to be filed while you're alive. However, with the types of trusts that I know that you're working with Christina on, I know they're usually complex trusts, right? Complex trusts. And so simple trust versus complex trust. When you have a complex trust, you must file a tax return. Once again, when you have a complex trust, you must file a tax return every single year. It's just like a C corporation, but in this case, it is a trust. So you have to file, right? So you form your trust for 2024. You formed it last year. Well, you have to file that tax return. Even if you made no money, even if you generated $0 in that trust, well, according to the trust, the way complex trusts are set up, these are pretty meticulous types of setups. And so with that being said, the IRS does require you to submit a tax return, even if it's a $0 income tax return. So you do want to file every single year for your trust. This is your business trust and then your family trust as well. And so when we talk about the form, basically at the top, it has what year that you're filing for. Of course, you want to check at the very top, make sure that you're filing for the correct tax year. So this one is a 2024 tax year. And so that means that we are basically filing for the 2024 tax year. All right. January 1st through December 31st. If you form your trust in the middle of the year, you formed it in June, well, you would put that month and date, right? June 1st of 2024, right? So at the top, you got your dates. And then you have the basic items of the trust. What is the name of the trust? So in this case, we have the John Doe Irrevocable Business Trust. So this is a business trust tax return. So you want to make sure you put the name of the trust, right, in the proper section. And then you want to put the name and the title of the fiduciary. Fiduciary is whoever you designate to basically be in charge of the trust, right, responsible for the trust. Um, and so, if you, in this case, this individual, their trust, they designated a company, right? They designated a company to be the fiduciary. All right. So you want to put the name of the fiduciary. This is pretty much the individual or company that's going to be receiving documents on behalf of the trust, right? Any, God forbid, lawsuits, any notices that the IRS sends, checks. Basically, all of that is, going to be designated to the fiduciary. All right. So the fiduciary, you put the address. I'm currently based in Dallas, Texas. And so that's why you have this, you have this Dallas, Texas address. And then let's just say this is your first year doing the return. You want to make sure you check the right box, initial tax return, and then the number of K1s that are to be issued. In this case, I kept it pretty simple. It's to one, right? So just one. In some cases, you will see two, right? If you're 98, let's just say that your family trust is 98%, right? You're 2%, however way you decide to set it up. Then you would have the number of K-1s that are issued. All right. So then you want to put your tax ID number. Every trust should have a identifiable individual employer identification number. This is basically the social security number for the trust. This is ultimately what gives birth to the trust essentially. And then what date did you actually create the trust? What date did you create the trust? So this is very, very simple, but checking the wrong box here can cost you a lot. I've seen time and time again where the wrong box is checked in literally the first section of the form, which is section A. So you want to make sure that you check the right box. If you have irrevocable, it's complex trust, right? That's usually the case. And you want to put all your basic details of the trust in this main section. All right. So then we would get to the income and the other sections of the trust. So note that when you're a trust, you're earning money, right? You're earning income. Um, and so basically what the purpose of this form is to report the income and expenses of the trust. Now, in setups that I've seen, the trust owns your business, your LLC. I believe this is part of what Christina was just demonstrating when I joined. But basically, the business trust, is going to own all of your businesses. Your LLC, your real estate company, your side hustle, right? It's basically going to own all of that. So in some cases, you may actually just get a Schedule K-1 from your business into the trust. And so the business may end up issuing the trust a K-1 basically to report the income and expenses of the business, right? And then that would get attached to this form. So in cases where the business trust does not own another business, or you decided to not put your business in the business trust just yet, then this would only include any income of the trust. So maybe you have a bank account for the trust. Okay, well, you earn interest in that bank account. So then what you do is you report how much interest income you earn in the trust. In this case, it's $7,500, for example. All right, so you got a bank account, a savings account, for example, and that bank account is owned by the trust. It's in the name of the trust, and so you would go ahead and report the interest income of the trust. Maybe you decide to invest in some stocks. You put money in the stock market. You buy some index funds and things of that nature. Well, you probably will earn some type of dividends, right? Some dividends. And so dividends is usually a return on you investing in that stock, like Apple stock, for example. Then if you're earning dividends in the name of the trust, then you'll go ahead and report it. Notice everything that I say is in the name of the trust. Things that are owned by the trust are the only things that are reported on these forms. If your business is not owned by the trust, do not report the income of the business inside this form. Let me repeat it one more time. For whatever reason, if your business is not owned by the trust just yet, maybe you're still working on the paperwork, or maybe you plan to do this in a few years, whatever reason, if your business is not owned by the trust and your business is earning the income, please do not use this form. Use the respective tax forms. For example, if it's an LLC, single member LLC taxes a sole proprietorship, then use the Schedule C on your 1040 individual income tax return. All right. If you have a real estate business, then use a Schedule E for your rental property business. All right. And so basically, if your trust owns your property, if the trust owns the property, then what you're going to do is there's going to be an attachment to this same form called the Schedule E, and this will report the rents and the expenses, the income and expenses of that property. It looks just like the 1040 individual income tax return. As a matter of fact, they use the same exact form, the same exact schedule. All right. If the trust owns a single member LLC, and that single member LLC is not, let's say, it's not taxed as a C corporation or a partnership or an S corporation, then you want to make sure you attach the Schedule C, right? You attach the Schedule C. So the Schedule C is going to report the income and expenses of the business that is owned by the trust, or if the trust is the business, basically. All right. So all you're doing with this form is you're compiling all your information. So please make sure you keep separate books and records for each of these businesses that you own. You own 5 businesses. Please keep separate books and records for the 5 businesses. It's very important, right? And so anything that is owned by the trust, you want to still maintain separate books and records. And it is stated here, just on the tax, the return, that you have to file separate forms, use separate schedules for each of the businesses you own. So don't just lump everything together and say, oh yeah, this business trust that owns 5 businesses, I'm going to put everything in one profit and loss report. You don't want to do that. Put it in 5 separate profit and loss reports. Give it to your tax advisor, your tax professional, and then they'll file. You'll see, for example, 5 Schedule Cs. You'll see 5 Schedule Es or Schedule Ds, whatever the case may be. If it's a partnership business, maybe your business is owned by a partnership, or your business is a partnership where it has multiple owners, then you're going to use a Schedule E. And that business would have already filed a tax return known as the 1065 partnership tax return, right? And so that business would have issued what we call a Schedule K1, a Schedule K1 that would have the trust name in it, and then whoever else is your partner in that business, for example. All right. So all of this goes in the income section. And then when we talk about deductions, it's, for example, if you paid interest on loans, maybe you took out loans in the name of the trust, then interest you've paid, you go ahead and put that here. Any taxes that you paid on behalf of the trust or the trust paid, then you put that here. Fiduciary fees. Well, you probably need some type of fiduciary for your trust, right? A trustee, for example. And so that person or that company that you're hiring, that you're paying a fee for, you go ahead and put that. And get this, charitable deduction. Now, this is very uncommon for the business trust. This is more so going to be for your family trust. Your family trust is usually what's donating money to your charitable trust. All right. So the business trust, you probably won't see a line item for this. But just in case, maybe by accident, you made a donation from your business trust to a charity or your own charity, then you would put that in this section. All right. Notice how you use the Schedule A, line 7. All right. You paid your accountant, your attorney, your tax preparer. All of that is tax deductible on line 14. And then the infamous other deductions, right? These are things that are not within the, they're not clearly identifiable, but you go ahead and attach a schedule for that. And then if you have any carryover losses for the trust, then that would go in line 15B as well. All right. So you notice you have total income for your trust, and then you'll have basically total expenses or total deductions. And then the last section really are tax payments. And this is basically will determine how much taxes you pay. Now, here's the thing. With your business trust, you usually don't want to leave money in there, because the thing is, any money that you leave in there is probably going to incur a tax rate in a tune of 40%. 40%. So what you usually want to do is transfer any money that's left in your business trust to your family trust. Use that for your day-to-day expenses, whatever your family trust in the trust documents has deemed it to be payable by the trust, right? You want to transfer that money into that family trust. And then whatever money is left over from the family trust, you want to transfer that into your charitable trust. All right, that's usually how it goes with the taxes, because any money that's left in this section, right? Ideally, you want to have either $0 or $100 in this section. But any money that's left here, you're basically paying a 40% tax rate, even higher than your individual income tax rate. So you want to be very, very meticulous about the money movement in your trust. And usually with the business trust, you don't want to leave any money in there. And basically just make sure that you create a budget each year of, hey, this is how much my business trust is going to spend. This is how much my family trust is going to spend. And then this is how much I plan to donate to my charitable trust as well. All right. If you happen to have money left in the trust, then it's going to incur a tax at 40% usually. And so that means that you're paying whatever the taxable income is. times your tax rate, and that determines your total tax. All right. If you've made any payments in advance throughout the year, then that's going to go under the total payment section. And then if you overpaid the government, maybe you were doing some payments, to the government, then they'll give you what we call a tax refund. All right. You get a tax refund for any money that you overpaid to the trust. Now you'll notice on the next few pages, it gets a bit more detailed. For example, who did you donate to the charity? Okay. How much did you pay to the charity? Of course, they'll ask for the name of the charity, the name of your foundation, and all that stuff. So they'll ask you for all of that. So one thing to note, I mentioned that if you leave money in the trust, then you're going to incur a 40% tax, basically. And so what you usually do is you quote unquote distribute the money to your family trust, and then your family trust distributes the money to your foundation trust, whatever's left over. All right. So they're going to do that through a Schedule K1. And this is all going to be in the income distribution section. All right. A K1 is money that you've given to the beneficiary, whoever you named as the beneficiary. And in the case of a business trust, the beneficiary will probably be your family trust, right? So your family trust, your trust return is going to have K1s attached to it as to who you designated as the beneficiary of that trust. All right. And then in Schedule G, you'll notice that it has the tax computations. How did you come up with the tax? Now notice, if you have a tax professional, they're doing all this stuff for you anyway. All you got to do is just give the records like the profit and loss report for the trust, how much money you distributed to the trust. So you're basically giving all of this information, to your tax professional. So I know I'm presenting this as if you're doing this manually, but basically what I'm doing is going through it so that you can see what it looks like. All right. And so that's basically what I'm doing today. And would definitely love to open up the floor for any questions at this time, please. Anybody with any questions?
I just want to say thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate you, going through this complex form for them. So, if you guys have any questions for Jeff, now is the time to ask him while he's here, okay? Because after we're done, he's going to go about his day. So please ask all of your tax questions now, okay? Please raise your hand. Because I know you guys have a bunch of tax questions all week long, and so now is the time that we have our CPA here, okay? So I'm gonna open up the floor for Q&A. So let's just get started. So I see the first hand I saw was AA iPhone 13. Not sure who that is. Another thing is that we do have Jeff's link in the chat. So anybody who is ready to move forward and get more information, go ahead and click on that link and go ahead and fill out the form so that Jeff and his team is able to assist you with your whole entire tax structure. Okay, some of you guys are W-2, some of you guys have businesses, you're newly setting up trust, so they'll be able to assist you with all of those things. Okay, so let's see who has a question. I see
It's Andres. Yeah, I changed my name on there. So you know who did.
Awesome. All right, awesome.
Thanks, Christina. Hi Jeff. It's a simple question, but I just want to be sure. If we were to put something like a vehicle then in one of these irrevocable trusts, those would file a return every year as well too?
Yeah, that's a great question, Andres. So not the vehicle itself, right? But basically the best ideal setup is you have an LLC. Let's say it's a single member LLC, taxes and sole proprietorship. Then that LLC would own the vehicle. And then you would put the vehicle on your Schedule C of that LLC essentially. And if that business is owned by your trust, then what's going to happen is you're going to use the 1041 instead of the 1040 to file the tax return for both the trust and also for the business, right? And so it's actually one tax return that you're filing in that scenario, but you would put the vehicle on ultimately the trust tax return, the Schedule C of that return. Does that answer your question, Andre?
Thank you. That was fun. It does.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem.
I have another question, but I haven't fully thought it out, so I'll step off. Thank you.
Any other questions? Let's see. We got Lindsay. Lindsay, go ahead, please.
Hey Jeff, thanks for being here. I reached out earlier this weekend and then I realized you were going to be on the call today, so I will follow up with that. But
Sure.
I just had a couple questions. Let's see. I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around well, for one, I'm mostly a W-2 earner. I am part owner of a S corp, but I don't know whether or not I can get the rest of my partners on board with becoming a C corp so that my shares can be owned by the business trust. But I'm trying to wrap my head around one, how am I going to move the money from trust to trust to fund the family trust? And then, if I'm mostly W-2, sort of donating to the charity. And then secondly, how do you legitimize or how does it work on a tax from a tax point of view, like what's legitimate as expenses from the family trust? I've heard people writing off rent and bills and all that.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering how and why that works.
So thank you for that, Lindsay. Can you please let's just go question by question. What's your first question?
Sure. First question, how would a W-2 earner primarily fund the
Mhm.
family trust with this structure, or how would they move things from
Absolutely.
place to place?
Okay, so W-2 earner. So here's the thing. Usually with the business trust, it's so this structure is only truly going to work if you really have a business trust. Because here's the thing. The family trust is an irrevocable trust. So it files its own tax return. And the goal for the family trust is to receive money from the business trust. So if you have W-2 income, then I would say it's not going to be the sexiest structure because of the fact that that family trust, right? It's not basically what's going to happen is that family trust won't have anything really to offset because that family trust is a taxable entity itself. The business trust is a taxable entity itself. What makes this work very nice is that with the business trust, you can just transfer the money to the family trust for whatever expenses are of the family trust. And so the family trust should have a zero profit, zero expense, right? Zero books, basically, or not zero books, but a zero profit, zero loss for the year because all it's receiving, the income of the family trust, it's simply money that was transferred from the business trust to the family trust. So to shortly answer your question, Lindsay, if you have W-2 income, this won't work for you. It's not going to be the most ideal structure for you.
Okay.
Exactly. At least from a
In
tax standpoint, from a legal standpoint, right? That family trust is owning your assets like your car, your house, your bank accounts. Yeah, from that aspect, it's definitely amazing. But just wanted to mention that from a tax standpoint, if you have W-2 income, it's not going to work the best, unfortunately.
Right. Okay. Um, well, let's say in the future the business trust is set up and I've got the three trust structure that we're talking about. Um, what sort of expenses are legitimate through the family trust?
Just to clarify, in this scenario, you already have a business trust?
Yes, if the
Okay.
business trust had the beneficiary being the family trust.
Yeah, it's a great question, Lindsay. So basically, the nice thing with trust is that, you can designate what the trust pays for. So in your trust agreement, it states what the trust can pay for. It can pay for the mortgage, because keep in mind, the family trust owns the assets, right? It
Mm.
owns your house. It owns your car, at least your personal car. It owns your personal car. It owns your personal home. It owns anything that is not directly related to business. So what that means is that if the trust owns that asset, then guess who's responsible for paying for that asset? It's not
Mhm.
you as the
Mhm.
individual, it's the trust. So what you want to do is state in the trust agreement exactly what the trust needs to pay for. That's how it would work. So whatever your trust agreement states that you've set within yourself and your fiduciary, that's ultimately what's going to determine what's deductible, what's not deductible. It is literally stated in the trust agreement.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. Trust me, I was confused too when when I heard that initially, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. I don't own my house. My trust owns my house. So probably my trust should be paying for my house. Right.
Right. It sort of goes against everything IRS related when you're working in, the your personal name, but so
Hmm.
it's sort of just a reframing. Okay. All right,
Exactly. That's
cool.
all we're doing. That's right.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Lindsay. Great questions.
Thank you, Jeff.
And yeah, no problem. Once again, my link is in the chat. Anybody that's interested in finding out more information, more details about what we talked about today, you need a tax professional, you feel your tax professional just isn't working out for you, feel free. There's the links in the chat. I also reshare that QR code. Please, when you fill out, please put in that Christina Yvette or Seven Ways to Wealth sent you, right? So that way, we can give her the proper recognition and the proper just make sure we recognize her accordingly. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so the screen was moving around a bit. Let's go into first person I see is Samuel. Samuel Robinson, please go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing the information you did. I learned a lot. I enjoy learning, and thanks to Christina for bringing you on as well. I appreciate it. When it
Absolutely.
comes to 1099Bs for bartering and withholding credits, can the trust handle such documents, or is that best through the personal?
Short answer is it really depends. Um, if you can, like when you're signing up for those types of activities, transactions, if you can sign up in the name of your business, then that's always recommended. Now, one thing to keep in mind too is that usually your business is owned by the trust, the business trust. So when you're going out there to do business, you're not actually doing business in the name of your trust. You're doing business in the name of the LLC, and then the LLC is owned by the trust. So there is this extra layer of protection when it comes to the business. So basically, think of the business and the trust as one and the same, but the business is the one that's out there in the world that is promoting itself. Nobody really knows about the trust, right? And so, with that being said, the business is who's going to go out there and conduct transactions. It's just that instead of you putting your name as the owner of the business, it's your trust that owns the business essentially. And so, to answer your question, Samuel, it just depends on who you're dealing with and if they allow you to put a business entity as who they're transacting or paying or whatever the case may be. So it just depends on the vendor, supplier, whoever it is that you're working with.
I understand. Thank you for sharing. In To make it more in the context of a personal residence
Mm-hmm.
that is not in the trust yet,
Mm-hmm.
um, filing a 1099B on a person, but you want to move it so that the trust does it instead of the personal. Is that is there a process to do that, or is that just stuck on the personal? Because I haven't transferred anything into the trust yet as far as the personal residence, but it does have
Absolutely.
a
Thanks for
mortgage
that,
on it.
Sam. Yeah, definitely. So short answer is you do want to move the property from your personal name to the trust name. That's the only way it's going to work. Trust is very meticulous, very strict, these are pretty, usually when it came to trust, it was only the high net worth individuals that could have these things. So as you can imagine, they were very strict, they were very meticulous, very heavy on the documentation. So you are required to transfer that property to your trust first, right? Before you go ahead and sell it, for example. Um, and so that's one of those where, yeah, the trust would need to own the asset to reap any rewards or have anything reported that's tied back to the trust.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Great
Thank you for that,
info.
Samuel. Yes, indeed. No problem.
And
Well, let's get somebody else in here. Let's get Lady Harley. Lady Harley, go ahead and ask your question, please. Lady Harley, looks like you're muted. Lady
Yeah,
Harley 50. There you go. We can hear you
I'm
now.
here. Can you hear me? Can
Yeah,
you
we
hear
can
me
hear you
okay?
now.
Okay. Um, well, thanks for being here. Christine is great. I really appreciate you. And I have a thing set up with you, I believe, for next week. Okay, I think you answered one of my questions, but the sole priority. Now, if it's based under a nonprofit, okay, how does that work with the
Can
trust?
you
Like,
repeat your question, please? What's
yeah, I
based on
know.
a
I'm
nonprofit?
circling.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the sole priority ship. I mean, it ain't an S corp. It's like based on the faith-based trust. You know what I mean?
Can you give me a scenario? Like what
Uh,
are you looking to do?
like would like anything if it's nonprofit, like can I get like the rents and all that paid out of the out of that trust
I mean, you
or
could.
not? Yeah.
You
Okay.
could, right? A lot of the things about taxes is usually yes, you can, you could.
Okay.
The real question is, should you? Should you? That's the real question.
Okay.
So usually the foundation, the charitable trust is not one that's earning rent, that's earning income, that's earning, they're not the ones that are usually earning your income.
Right.
That's usually the business trust. The business trust is the breadwinner. That's who like that's the pretty much, that's
Like,
that's the head of the household basically.
yeah.
So
Well,
that's
I am. Yeah, I'm head of household too. But is that like doing business as? You know what I mean? Would that be
for
better
sure.
than the?
Yeah, so
Okay.
definitely you want to get Lady Harley, you want to get a business trust for sure.
Okay.
Um, and you don't want to do the structure where the nonprofit is now the one that's earning the money. And there's a lot of commingling rules with
Okay.
nonprofits.
Yeah.
Because it is a non-taxable entity. So they're extremely strict.
Okay.
They're even more strict than your regular trust,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely want to basically get the business trust, and then use that money to fund the charity to do the charitable activities that you deem necessary. So that's how I would recommend you do that.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Okay.
Likewise, Lady Harley. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Let's go to Ayana. Ayana, you got your hand raised. Go ahead, please. Looks like you're muted, Ayana, if you're looking to
Hi,
speak.
yes,
There's
yes,
something.
I'm here. I'm here. Hi again. Hello, Christina. Once again, an amazing workshop again. And thank you so much, everybody. These are jewels, and God bless you guys for taking the time and teaching us in small droplets how we can think about our income. And Jeff, thank you so much. Yesterday, we met briefly yesterday, and we're still trying to get it. But I wanted to know. I have a couple of questions. Can a trust own an S corp?
Question. It can own a revocable, right? A revocable trust can own an S corp, but not an irrevocable trust. An irrevocable trust by law cannot, I repeat, cannot own an S corp directly. It's prohibited with the IRS.
Got you. Okay. The next question is, if I want to buy a building, should I buy it through the business trust first, or should I buy it through a family trust that is being funded by a business trust?
Is this your primary residence or is this a rental property?
Okay, let's go with both scenarios. What if it was a private
Yeah.
residence?
So keep in mind, your family trust is things that you own personally. When you see the word personal, think of the word family trust, right? So anything personal, your home, your car, anything that you is in like you're utilizing it personally, then family trust. The moment you mention the words business or business capacity, business write-off, business deduction, business asset, it should be business trust.
Okay, so let's say, for instance, I use the basement for doing business, then the building would be something that's being held in a business trust as opposed to family trust.
That one is tricky. I would say whichever is the majority of the use is who you will own it because there's some legalities to that. For example, what if somebody sues you in the capacity of a business and they take the asset altogether? Probably don't want that. So then you would want it to be owned by the family trust more than anything.
Okay, and I think that next question would probably be more for a lawyer. You just brought up another question, but um, and then my last question is with regards to when I do have a business trust and I own the or the entity that the business trust owns, and I'm paying myself, my 1040 or 1099s are just solely related to me personally, as opposed to I'm still paying taxes on that personally. And my income is, um, I guess I'm confused with my own question because when you work for yourself, I guess you can determine how much you're going to pay yourself. So when determining that, um, do I have to pay my own separate taxes from the business? Because it seems like
Yeah,
there's a
great
lot of tax
question. Short
returns. There's a
answer
lot of
is
tax returns, it seems like.
yeah, you're not paying yourself anything out of a trust. Your trust is paying for everything on your behalf. So you're not paying yourself anything. That's the short answer to the question.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly. You're living
Thank
through your trust. Your trust is the payer of everything that you own. You're just replacing your name with the trust name of everything that you're buying, cars, houses, everything is paid by the trust, not you personally. I don't want to say you no longer exist, but in the world of a trust, you pretty much no longer exist, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see why I was getting myself confused. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for that, Ayana. Indeed. All right, all right. We got a few more minutes to go, so let's take a few more questions. Once again, right, this is a lot of stuff. Please do not try this stuff at home. My advice to you, get a professional, right? We put a link in the chat that you can use. It's just a 1 minute link. It just takes you 1 minute, fill it out. We can have a more dedicated session. If you are somebody that is in need of tax planning service, something that's more dedicated one-on-one, yeah, we can talk to you about that and what that looks like. So at a bare minimum, use that link. Just take 1 minute, fill it out. Let us know what you need and how we can help you. Be more than happy to help you accordingly. All right, we had a few questions in the chat. I do want to get to it real quick. We got Samsung S24. I know you clarified your name as well. You said, did you say the business trust cannot transfer funds to the charitable? Now, just remember, a lot of the things with taxes is you can do it usually, right? Usually the question is, can I do this? Can I do that? Usually, yes, you can. So, can you transfer money from a business trust to a charitable trust? 1000% you can. But should you? You should not. That money should be coming from the family trust. The family trust. That's how we usually do it. Tony says, I might have missed it, but what is the best business entity to be owned by the business trust. So I would say probably an LLC, single member LLC is fine. So I would say LLC would be the choice that I would select there. Let's go to Dina. Dina, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hello.
We can hear you, Dina.
Okay. Great. I'm so glad to connect with you. I didn't realize you was part of Christina's. I seen it and I overlooked it in my emails. But anyway, I just started my LLC. This is my first year, and I got my first letter from the tax and finance department. And I was just shook because I really don't know how to fill this form out. And so I want to take the time to, fill it out the right way because I know it's going to impact how my taxes are going to be incurred on the LLC. So my question is though, even though my LLC has not made any money yet, 'cause it just started, I was hearing that certain things that I use in the business can be considered expenses and that they can be written off, such things as like my phone, my car or your laptop, things of that nature. When I do get ready to fill it out, can I use those things as consider them as tax expenses and have them written off?
Yeah, great question, Dina. Short answer is yes, you can. And my advice, let's get together, right? Fill out that questionnaire. Let's really get you, making sure you're filling out the right paperwork, the right forms, and ultimately having your taxes, having tax success. So to answer your question, Dina, yes, that's what you would do. But I would love to, for us to work in a more one-on-one capacity to go more in depth on that as well. All right. Does that answer your question, Dina? All right. Looks like we may have lost Dina. Hopefully you heard my answer, Dina. If not, feel free to type in the chat. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, Dina. Can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can. I froze for a second. Okay.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard me say, Dina?
The last thing I heard you say was yes, it can be done and that we could meet and you would help me, go over the form so that it could be done properly.
Absolutely. 1000%. Thank you for that, Dana. Appreciate you for joining us. Indeed. Indeed. Let's go, Cynthia. Cynthia, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for your time and answering these accounting and tax questions. Okay, so I have two categories, I guess I want to describe. So the first one is in terms of a family home, a home house for our family that we have prepared and it is going to be rental. Okay. So I've got the three trusts. So I'm understanding that the home should be put in the business, in the family trust.
Pause right there.
Correct?
Just pause right there. What type of use? What is the use of that home?
It's for rental purposes.
There you go. So it's for business purposes, right? Business purposes. When you hear the word business, business trust, B and B, right? They go together. Business trust. When you mention the word personal use, like I'm only going to use this for personal reasons, then it should be family trust. All right. So the moment you're earning rental income and you have tenants in your building, business trust. If you don't have any tenants in the building, family trust.
Okay. Okay. So then the next is how should, okay, so you answered it with the business trust, then that means it's real rental and it's income. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if at the end of the year and you're doing the distribution, should this be done before year end or can it be done within the tax year you're about to prepare the tax?
Now, I've learned in life, that's a great question, Cynthia. I've learned in life that it's always better to be safe than sorry. Anytime you can err on the side of doing something where you feel it's probably best to do it one way versus another, I would lean towards the way of doing it that way. So my advice with that is transfer it before the year has already ended.
The 4 year end, okay. Okay,
Exactly.
so on the personal, okay, thank you. On the, well, personal slash, I say personal, but not in the, this is not gonna,
Family
I'm
trust.
asking for a, well, for a personal home, a residential home that has a mortgage. How do we, how does that work in terms of putting that into a trust?
Yeah, I would say that is a bit beyond the scope of my expertise. That would be a Christina question. So I would say that's something that Christina can certainly. I mean, there's a step-by-step process to doing it. Usually it's via quit claim deed, QUIT claim deed. But I would save that question for Christina for sure.
Oh, okay, okay. And I think that's
Absolutely.
it then.
Sounds
Thank you
good.
so
Thank you for that,
much.
Cynthia. Great questions. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. All right, we got time for two more questions. Let's go to Ashley. Ashley, please go ahead and ask your question. Looks like you're muted. There you go.
Maybe, yeah, this may be for Christina as well, because I wanted to ask why put a 501c1a into an irrevocable trust, and how do you separate that from um the irrevocable trust from it being having to be in an irrevocable trust?
Got it.
Because it
Got
kind of
it. So I'll
clashes.
let, yeah, so that's definitely a Christina question, but I'll answer from a tax standpoint.
Okay.
Is basically this will allow you to, transfer money from your family trust into that charitable trust. And that way you don't pay any income taxes on your family trust. All right. So that's just from a tax standpoint, like why we set it up like that. And also there's more asset protection. There's more, the ability to pass it down from generation to generation smoother. The paperwork is cleaner when it's irrevocable, right? The Bill Gates Foundation, for example, that's an irrevocable private family foundation trust. So it's the cleanest way to do it, and it truly separates you from the business. And then it allows you to reap all the rewards of trust when it comes to nonprofits and when it comes to taxes as well.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking about with the ministry trust. I was asking why, because I know
Mhm.
that clash, but thank you for the clarity.
No problem. Thank you for that, Ashley. Appreciate that. All right, all right. They say the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Let's go to the last question. Renee, please go ahead.
Thank you so
Renee.
much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Renee. Yes,
So
indeed.
I'm just apologizing for not being on camera because I'm at work. And that's why I kept raising my hand and lowering it. But I have a question for
Something.
you. My employer has agreed to pay me through my trust. How does that look when it comes to filing my taxes at the end of the year?
Okay, let's hold on for a second. Is this W-2 or 1099 income?
W-2.
And they've agreed to pay you in the name of a trust?
They did.
Wow. Man, more power to you. That's the first time in the history of taxes that I've ever heard an employer do that.
And I got it in
Uh,
writing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So in that case, yeah, all the income would go to the trust. I don't know how they will handle the taxes personally.
Mm-hmm.
That is quite a mystery for me personally, right? It's the first scenario that I've ever seen like that. So I can imagine all the income would go in the name of the trust. You would file the
Mm-hmm.
taxes, the 1041, using that income in the name of the trust.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably will still withhold taxes in the name of the trust. So all they're doing basically is replacing your name with the trust name, essentially.
Okay, well, I will make sure that I provide Christina with the update and so she can give it to you because I was shocked myself and that's why I asked them to put it in writing and they did. And I was like,
Awesome.
really? So I will update you. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that,
All
Renee.
right.
Appreciate that. Absolutely. So I did say Renee will be our last question, but looks like I have Tamika. You got your hand raised. Go ahead, please. Last question.
Oh my, you're too kind. I didn't think you were going to call on me. Thank you very much,
No
Jeff, for your
worries.
time today. Really quick, I think I
Absolutely.
heard you say earlier that an S corp this does not work for, and I'm just trying to understand that it's still an LLC, and it's just a tax election that you're making. So what's the thought process behind that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And is your name, how you say your first name?
Tamika?
Tamika, absolutely. So
Yeah.
according to the Internal Revenue Code, an S corp cannot be owned. One of the shareholders of an S corp cannot be an irrevocable trust, unfortunately. Same thing with foreign partners. You cannot have a foreign partner in an S corp, right? It prohibits it. It basically, you know, it it wipes out the election completely. So it's just according to the tax law, it's just according to the tax code. So all we do there, and keep in mind, you don't really need the S corp, if you have this trust set up anyway, because you're not going to be paying any income taxes anyway. So all we do is if you have the S corp currently, we revoke the S corp election, make it a single member or multi-member LLC. If it's single member, it's a Schedule C. If it's multi-member, it's a 1065 partnership tax return. So it's just according to the Internal Revenue Code. It prohibits an irrevocable trust from owning an S corp stock, basically.
Yeah. So that was going to be my next question is, if you're in that situation, you said just make the adjustment on the S corp, take it off.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to maintain a trust strategy, I've seen some clients say, you know what? Okay, I'll use a trust for asset protection, but not for tax purposes, because I want to keep
Yeah.
my S corp. I want to still do all that. But if this trust strategy is something you want to go, and the trust thing is when you commit to it, you got to go all in. There's no turning back, basically. Right.
Right.
And so basically, if you're going all in on a trust strategy, then you would have to revoke the S corp election, right? Just sending a letter to the IRS saying, hey, my S corp is now owned, or my company is now owned by a trust. So I'm revoking the S corp election. So you cancel it completely. And then moving forward, if you're single member LLC, you're just using your 1041 and the Schedule C to file your tax return instead of the 1120S S corp tax return.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
Indeed.
very
So
much.
you have
Thank you
options.
very much.
No problem, Tamika, for sure. All right, all right. So, man, definitely appreciate everybody's time today. Hope you're able to get some information, some value from what we shared. I know it's a lot of information. It's very complicated, complex, and all of that. My advice to you is take action, right? You see the QR code on the screen. It's the same link in the chat. Feel free to scan the code, 1 minute questionnaire. Just take 1 minute of your time. Say, hey, I need help, right? I need some more guidance. I want to work with you as a tax professional. We're more than happy to help you. So one of the best things you can do is take action. Go ahead and fill out that link, and please let us know that Christina Yvette 7 Ways to Wealth sent you, so that we can give the proper recognition to Christina and the team as well. So remember, it's a lot of information. But we're here to help guide you every step of the way. You do not have to go at this alone. We can help you. We can guide you. There's a screenshot here that allows you to scan the code. And then in the chat, it's also the same link as well. And let me answer this one last question. Sammy says, C Corp 2? No, C Corp can be owned by a trust. A C Corp can be owned by an irrevocable living or irrevocable trust. So I'll pass it back to Christina. Thank you to everybody for joining today. I appreciate the questions, appreciate you listening and being able to get educated on this matter. And thank you, Christina, for inviting me to your platform as usual. It's always appreciated.
Jeff, you are the best. You are the best in the business. And I'm just so glad that you had the availability to come into the workshop today and to educate the community, because as you see, they really need to know this information. They need to know how they can put their 3 trusts into practice, how it works with the taxes. And I'm glad that you were able to provide them with clarity. I'm glad that you were able to just also answer their questions, because they had questions for me since Monday. And I said, hold on, Jeff is coming. Wait for Jeff. So I'm so grateful each and every time that you come on. And there are a lot of our community members that are with Jeff and his team. So his team is fantastic. They know the ins and outs when it comes to this structure, and they will be able to assist you. So with that being said, as Jeff mentioned, his link is inside of the chat. So go ahead. It's a quick questionnaire. Go ahead and fill it out. And then they'll be able to meet with you because everyone's tax situation is different, right? Some people are W-2, some people have been running a business for a couple years, so we don't know that. But Jeff and his team will get down to the nitty-gritty and they'll be able to help you along this whole entire process. So I'm super excited. Thank you, Jeff, so much. I know your time is valuable and I know you have to go, but I just want to say thank you one more time. On behalf of me and the community, because we appreciate you being that educator and that resource for us.
And to that, thank you, Christina. Appreciate everybody
Yes,
for
thank
joining.
you,
Hope you have a
Jeff.
great, thank you. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Hope you're able to get some rest,
Yay.
recharge, and enjoy time
Me
with the
too.
family.
Yes,
Absolutely. See you all.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
see
See you
all the
guys.
hearts. Yes, all the hearts. Okay, thank you, guys. So,
Always love to.
let's continue on. So I do want to open up the floor for Q&A. So I'll be able to answer any questions that you guys might have. And then I have some homework for you guys. And then I have another guest who's going to join us in just a little bit. So if you have any questions for me based off of the information that we went over today. So today I focused on assets. So if you have any questions based off of that, please raise your hand. Please let me know what your questions are and I'll be able to answer them. Let's see. All right, so I want to know, I'm not sure if there's any questions or not, but I would like to know, does anyone have any feedback on how their experience has been during the workshop? So you can come off mute, you can come on camera, you can stay off of camera, but if you don't have any questions, I would love your comment and let me know, how did the workshop go for you guys? Because I know a lot of you guys are new. I'm not sure if you're shy or I'm not sure if you're just soaking it all in because it's a lot of information. And I just do not want anyone on here to be overwhelmed, okay? I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride because you are on a journey, okay? And so, as I mentioned, we are going to help you with every step of the journey. So we help you from A to Z on this journey or throughout this whole process. So the the best thing for you to do is for you to just let it soak all in and then for you to go back into the recordings to watch it all over again, right? Because it's going to not only help with retention, but it's going to allow you to connect the dots because right now you're only hearing this information for the very first time. But if you go back on the recordings, then you'll be able to listen to it again and you'll be able to tie in like what you learned on day 5 with what you learned on day 1 and day 2. Okay. So that's the way that it works here with the workshop. It's for you to be hands-on, for you to get it done, but not for you to rush through the process. As I mentioned, right? You want to go step by step. So the first step obviously is you learning the fundamentals of the trust so that you could set up the trust. And then after that, then you're able to carry on and do everything else, right? So what is everything else? Everything else is getting the trust funded, opening up your bank account, transferring your assets, paying, filing taxes, all of those things come after. Okay, so get that foundation in order. So I don't want anyone to be overwhelmed. I know it's a lot. But one thing about us is that we'll be able to answer all of your questions and we can point you in the right direction and provide you with all the resources that you need. So with that being said, I see Samuel's hand up. Hey, Sam.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am grateful. It's been another experience that is worth documenting. I truly appreciate all the talent that you're bringing and all the talent that you've brought in the past. So kudos to you. Keep up the good work. And I believe today you're in Atlanta. Is that what I hear? You're not down here in
Yes.
Miami?
Right, correct. I'm in Atlanta. Yeah.
So first of all, in terms of what I can say about what you're doing, my testimony is that even though I am a licensed professional and I can do trust, I prefer to sit and be a student in your presence. And so I would recommend all my potential customers and current customers just to come sit in your class and soak up all this knowledge because you have provided it with clarity and you open things up so that people can actually get more clarity on what they're doing. So that's my testimony. Okay. My
Thank
question
you.
is, you're
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
My question is based on what I just heard a few minutes ago, the business creates the income. So the business is a source. It transfers the to the business charity, to the business trust. The business trust then transfers to the family trust, and the family trust transfers to the ministry trust. And so that's the only way that they essentially get funded. Did I understand that part correctly?
Yes, I personally wouldn't use the word transfer, so I'm very sensitive about the words that I use. So what I would say is there is a distribution that happens between the business and between the like the LLC, let's just say it's the LLC, between the LLC and the business trust. And then there's a distribution that happens from the business trust to the family trust. And then from the family trust, there is a charitable contribution that happens to the ministry.
Okay, great. Thank you for helping me to remember that particular word. When
Yes.
it comes to going the other direction, I understand that the trustee can get expenses paid for trustee activities in the ministry trust. Is that the only expenses that's allowed?
That's a really good question. So when you say that's the only expenses, are you meaning that's the only expenses for the trustee? Because that organization is going to have its own expenses.
Yeah, I'm thinking that that part is defaultly understood. It's just that I want to be clear to myself that it's not generating any income
It's not.
outside of.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not generating any income, and it's not going to be operated as a for-profit entity. What it is doing is it is receiving money, but that's by way of a donation or a tithe or a gift. And then that money is used for the philanthropic endeavors or the charity of your choice or the missionary activities that you have. And then it's also used to cover the expenses of the organization, whatever expenses that is. So, salary and other services that are rendered to the organization are considered as expenses.
understood. And lastly, all the personal assets, Mr. Badu was very clear, all the personal assets are owned by the family trust, and all the income producing assets is owned by the business trust.
That is correct. I
All
love
right,
the way
got
that you put that.
it. Got it. I yield my time back over.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Lindsay said I have to go. Wait, I don't know. Hold on one second. Okay. Thank you for that, Lindsay. Lindsay, do you want to come off mute real quick since you said that you have to go?
Oh, sure. I was just wanting to, you asked for feedback, and I just wanted to say I'm so grateful for you doing this. It's really cool. You're like, I don't know, you're giving people a very affordable way to take back their lives. And I think it's just really admirable. So thank you so much.
Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that so much. And that's what we're here for. So we're on mission. We're on mission just to help impact as many families as we can. We do not want you to lose your assets. We want you to be able to create that generational wealth efficiently and effectively. We want the next generation to be able to receive an inheritance. And we want to show you step by step how to do it the right way. So thank you for saying that. And thank you for being a part of this community, Lindsay.
Thank you, Christina. Have a great day.
You too. Have a great weekend. I heard it's a long weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. So next we have Ayana. Hey, Ayana.
Hey, Christina, one day I'm gonna have my camera fixed,
Oh,
but
yeah, no pressure. No pressure at all.
I'm getting it together. I promise you. Long story. But I am here again, and I just want to once again just bless you for always taking out your time. This is quality time too, people. And I know that it's a lot of information. And like I said, my mom put me on to you, and she and I have been working around the clock to get our trust established. And she's a retiree. No, I'm kidding. But she's already gotten her ministry started, and we're really moving forward. But all of the resources and everything that you have, I mean, I don't know how what your team consists of and who your team consists of, but I will say that I appreciate that you have taken all of the feedback from us, because I see different things that you've already started implementing from even our class. I really loved our group as well. But thank you for taking feedback and for listening to us. And this is a calling, I swear. Um, and also, I am on the brink of making a decision to go to Ghana. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on the brink. So I cannot find the email anymore, though. I've been looking for it. So please do put that information. Please resend. And I don't know, maybe mom will come with me. Who knows? But again, it is a journey. It is a lot to take in, but you have to watch the videos. And Christina allows us to come into these classes after we become a part of the community. We are really a part of the community. And I thank you for even setting aside your time to even have these flash meetings where we can kind of, I say, be up and close and personal with you and ask questions during, let's say, a 1 hour chat that we might have over Zoom. So really, really appreciating that, Christina. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ayana. I'm so happy that you and your mom are part of the community and that you're a mother-daughter duo. So that's fantastic. And I would love for you guys to join us in Ghana. So I just put the link in the chat so that you guys can take a look at the landing page. And I do have our the founder of that experience. She's going to come in a couple of minutes to just break it down for those of you guys who just want more information, and you can ask her any questions that you might have. But I'm really grateful for her to have cultivated this experience for our community. But thank you so much. And Ayana brought up a really good point that you guys have lifetime access. So you can come every single month. It's not a one and done thing where you just come to the workshop one time and we kick you out. No. So you can come every single month. We do it every 4 weeks. So the next one is September, I think 29th to October 1st or October 2nd. So it's usually the last week of the month. So then we'll have one the end of October. And because of the holidays, we're gonna have in November and December, we always do it at the first week. So we do it the first week of not November, but of December. And then we go back to the last week in January. So it's literally a monthly thing, and it's really good for you to be in this space during that time so that once again you can just, reconfirm everything so that you can cross your T's, dot your I's, and just make sure that you are on track with setting up your entire structure. So thank you, Ayana, for being a part of the community and for those kind words. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. And then I also want to make sure that everybody knows that you can sign up as an affiliate. You can share this information with your loved ones, family, and friends. I signed up as an affiliate. Sometimes it's going to take a couple of hits for them to realize what's going on, but share this information through the affiliate agreement. And no, I was not paid for this advertisement.
Yes, you are the best. Exactly. So if you want other people to also have the same experience that you have had, then like Ayana said, join as an affiliate. We do, give you a little piece of the pie as a thank you for you to even go out of your way to share the program and for you to want your loved ones to get set up as well. So thank you so much. So Ayana mentioned Ghana, and as I mentioned, I was gonna have the founder come in. So she's here, and I want her to just talk a little bit about Ghana and the experience that we are going to have there, because what she has put together, like for our community, is really, it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. That's just how I feel. And this is the first time that I have felt so good about like going overseas and doing something internationally, that I said I have to invite my entire community because of the way that she has set up everything for us. And I feel very confident that you guys are going to have the best experience if you do decide to take the leap of faith and go to Ghana with us. I travel all over the world, and I've never felt comfortable inviting the wealthy trustee community until now. And now this is going to be such a phenomenal experience that this is just the first of many, and we're going to do this annually. So next year we'll go somewhere different. So wherever you guys decide, we'll go and do a vote so that we can start traveling as a community, which I think that I feel like it's well deserved, and it's going to allow us to be able to strengthen our connection with one another, because we see each other on Zoom, but we also want to see each other in person. And then for us to also, be because a lot of us, we've never left the country, or we've never invested internationally. So it's like now we get to dip our toe into uncharted waters, and we get to invest or start a business, or at least network with people, in these different countries to see what else is abroad. So I want to invite Miss Manal Al-Ansi to the stage so that she can tell you guys a little bit more about what we are going to experience. So Manal, let me go ahead and take you off of mute. Are you okay? Let me see. Hold on one second. Are you able to unmute yourself? Because I can't even find you anymore. Oh, there you go. Yes.
Hi, everyone. So good to be here. So good to see you all and be in the 7 Ways to Wealth community today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sacrificing a couple minutes of your time just to meet a couple of our community members.
Absolutely. I'm actually, I flew into Seattle for a conference with the Black Future Co-op Fund, who are also all coming out to Ghana. I'm here at Snoqualmie Falls, y'all. It's not the blur. Okay, you can't wait. Hold on. There you go. It's
Oh,
beautiful out
wow.
there. Yeah.
That is so gorgeous.
Maybe
You're breaking up just a
do
little
something
bit.
in Seattle and give you all an excuse to come to the West Coast now. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, it is. It's much better.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Manal Alansi. I'm the founder of Diaspora District, and we are going to Ghana, and we are taking experts and leaders across Africa in the diaspora to come with us. It's a cross-industry conference for global education, so we're not limiting it to educational leaders. I've been to many educational conferences in my day, and I will say, while they're very valuable, they are in a silo. It's typically people in the education system there. And we can change practices that way, but we can't really change a system. And what we want to address in particular at this conference is how to close the gap between education and post-graduation readiness. So that's how do youth and young adults step into leadership in their careers, in their personal lives, in their communities. And we just know that at the end of the day, we can't tell them how to get to where you all are better than you across industries. So while I have been engaging with political leaders and community leaders and educational leaders, I also need to talk to people who are building wealth and in different industries to finally be a part of that conversation. I came before, I let you all know it's a great opportunity for yourselves as well. Not just to position yourself as a thought leader in your space, but to contribute to systems building and shaping society in a way that different industry leaders are usually kind of shut out of. We also are pairing this conference with the homecoming tour. And that's a great opportunity to connect as a community, connect culturally, expand your network globally, but also learn about investments abroad. So a way that you can, while you're pouring into shaping these systems and the next generation and policies, you're also having an opportunity to pour in yourselves and your colleagues and your peers in the 7 Ways of Wealth community. We have, real estate tours embedded. We have professional tours embedded. And honestly, as we do, we have a lot of joy embedded. Okay. We have day parties, we have beach days, we have cultural trips to Cape Coast, and just like a beautiful retreat opportunity, because we also need to rest. Yes, we're building for ourselves, we're building for the world, we're building for society, and we also deserve to laugh, rest, eat good, and be in communities. So that's what we're doing December 13th through the 20th. You can stay a couple extra days, just to kind of go on your own or enjoy a few extra days with these new friends and colleagues that you're going to meet. And I just wanted to make sure you knew we were doing it. We're bringing in powerful people, and again, across industries, across sectors. The networking is going to be insane. It's not a huge 1,000, 2,000 person conference where you're just, a number among a huge crowd. You're very, very likely going to have an opportunity to build closer relationships with these different experts and industry leaders. Both the conference and our stay is in the same hotel. So that's the opportunity. Miss Christina Yvette herself is one of our speakers. You can see the quality of and the knowledgeable, people we're bringing to the table for the conference. And I mean, we have delegations from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Nigeria. We have a group from Atlanta, Seattle, DC coming out. It's just a good time to connect,
Yep.
So that's the invitation. I think you'll drop the link for them in the chat, and I'm here to answer any questions anyone may have.
Anybody have any questions for the founder of Diaspora District while we have her? She only has a few minutes because she's in a conference right now. So you can just come off mute and quickly ask her any questions that you might have. The link is inside of the chat. It brings you straight to the landing page. You can see the 4-day tour is broken down, and you see exactly what we do each and every day. And then you're able to see hold on, I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. You're able to, hold on, let me go ahead and press share. Share. Okay, you guys can see my page here. But this is the one that you want to choose. So it says Homecoming Tour Plus Conference Bundle. So the normal price is 2,450, and she decided to allow us to have a $450 discount. So it's only $200 for us. There is a discount code, so we'll put the discount code in the chat. But you can see each tour is tour day is broken down. So we have day 1, we have day 2, day 3, day 4. So she goes more into depth on what we're going to be doing during those days, which is, like she mentioned, we're going to be engulfed in the culture, and we're going to be able to do all the touristy things that you see people do in Ghana, okay? And then after the 4 days of fun and getting lit, then we are going to dive right into our conference. So the conference is from the 17th, 18th, 19th, and then the 20th. We are going to have a celebration. It's time to wind down. It's time to go home, or it's time to go to your next destination. So that is the tour. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, you're able to see the speakers. Some of these faces you have seen before. Some of them you have not, but you want to know who they are. Okay. So with that being said, the link is inside of the chat. Does anybody have any questions for Miss Manal while she's here?
Yes, I have a question. Peace. How are you,
Go for it.
Christina? This is
Hey,
Divine.
hey, hey, Divine.
Hey, sis,
Hi.
please. My question is in regards to the inoculations. Is there a specific list that is acceptable or holistic wise in regards to if you didn't have them or not being able to get them, or is there a specific exemption for that if you're not immunized or even getting them?
I'm not aware, but I don't know how lenient immigration is on that. I know you will need a yellow fever vaccine to my knowledge, but I think that's a great question to look up on their website. If you go to our website, whether it's a frequently asked questions or like next steps, we have a link where their visa process is listed out, and it talks about the vaccines and who to contact. So I would talk to them because those things would be beyond our organization.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Very good question. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Any other questions?
Hi, Christina. This is Ayana again.
Hey, Ayana.
Hi. So I wanted to comment. I think somebody is off mute. Oh,
I got it.
okay. So I wanted to comment on the immunization question. I just went to Ghana last year, and when I went, after paying $280 something for a shot, I just absolutely didn't want to get. They had a section at the customs in customs where you could get a yellow fever shot if you want to, for $20. And if you don't take it, I said, well, what if I don't want to take the $20? What if I don't want to take the shot? They said, just pay us our money. So I don't know if things changed, but you absolutely did not need to get that shot, and they have it right there in Africa. All you have to do is pay them their money, and that's all they want is their money for the shot. So if you do want to get the shot, I would definitely advise to get it here in the United States. But like I said, that was last year. I'm not sure if anything has changed since then. But I am also I am very proud of what you guys are doing, really thinking globally with this conference. And um, Manal, I would also like to know, I'm an educator myself, and one of my businesses is in education. And I would just like to like to know if there's a way to have a more in-depth conversation regarding the mission of what this conference is for. Like I said, when I went to Ghana, it wasn't just for educators, it was for the diaspora. And there's some amazing things in Ghana, which is why I want to go back. And I heard December is an awesome month to be there. So, yeah.
No, I would love to connect. You can follow up with Christina, and we can make that happen. Also, you all, One way you could actually just support today is to follow our conference page at Diaspora Districts on
Yes.
Instagram. I'm in the
Yep.
DM.
I'm gonna go ahead and post it now, and then you send her a DM.
Yeah, because I'm the one reaching, we can continue to talk there. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. And you mentioned December. I will say the end of our conference is the beginning of the week for Afrofuture. And so ours ends on the 20th. On the 21st, they're doing all of their pre-events leading up to Afrofuture on, I think, that Thursday or Friday. Afrofuture is the largest Afrobeats festival in Ghana. And the leaders are outstanding, their team's outstanding, what they stand for is great, and it is a complete vibe. So you will not run out of things to do, even if you want to stay a little longer. It's a beautiful time to have culture, business, pleasure, all the things.
Yep, I just dropped your Instagram link. So go ahead and follow the page. And then you can initiate conversations with Manal there so she can answer any and all your questions and just get connected with her. So if you're intentional about coming with us to Ghana, start to get familiar with, Diaspora District, what the conference is all about, what the movement is all about, because we are making global impact. And I'm so glad that you said that, Ayana. And I love that you're in education, because yours truly, she is also in education as well. So I know that you guys are like-minded individuals. I'm not surprised at all. So anybody have any other questions while we have her here? She only has a few more minutes. Anybody have any questions at all about going to Ghana? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much, Manal. We really appreciate you coming here and just giving us, a brief description of what we can experience when we travel over there. So you have an amazing rest of your day, and we will send out the links to everyone and more information. And I will go ahead and put inside of the chat what the discount code is. So it's only $2,000. And that's going to cover your whole entire, experience there in Ghana. So all you have to cover is your flight and hotel. That's it. So
And
come with us.
can I interrupt, Christina?
Yeah,
We
go
have
for it.
discount codes for that. We negotiated a price down with good, like their best rooms, special perks with the hotel, Elisa Hotel. Again, the conference and the rooms are going to be there. We have a discount code with Delta Airlines, and we're working with Ethiopian Airlines, which we should be having another option for flights that way. And I just want to say, for all of you all dedicated to generating ways to wealth for yourselves and your family, wealth generation and management is not just about building it for yourself. It's about building it for the next generation. And this is just such a beautiful opportunity to inform systems on how to do that best, utilizing your expertise. And so I would love for you all to be in the room. You already have 2 friends that'll be there. Okay. And thank you all again for allowing me to be in your community. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. We appreciate you, Manal. All right, guys. So that was fantastic. So the link is inside of the chat. The discount code is inside of the chat. And then Manal will provide us with more information on flight details and the hotels. So she did block a hotel for us. So we're all going to be in the same hotel. So she has rooms reserved for us, so that's awesome. And she has all of those discount codes. So with that being said, I want to continue on, and then I'll give you guys the homework, and then we will adjourn for today. So I see Sam's hand is up. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Christina, how you doing?
Great, great, great.
I want to start off by saying thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and putting together this whole platform and the curriculum. It's amazing. I put together curriculums as well, and I own a business and found a nonprofit too as well. And I'm actually in Florida. I'm in Northeast Florida area. So you're a huge answer from the Most High God, and I work with other organizations that do things like work with people with heirs property. That's one of the big issues in a lot of our community is our parents or grandparents have left properties for us, but when they pass, things weren't done correctly, whether there's a will that wasn't done correctly, so they lose it. And that's one of the things I work with other people to get educated on. And so with that, I'm over, when it comes to our family union, I'm over helping putting the family union together, coming up with education and things like that. One of the subjects we had when we had our board meeting last year was how can we teach the family about trust and how to be able to put those things in the trust, and magically you showed up on YouTube, and which I watched. So I'm just telling you that this is why you're answered from the Most High God. And I was thinking, man, how can we as a family get all this money together and possibly pay Miss Christina for coming and being at our family reunion just to show us? But I know we can do that same thing by the affiliate link and get them to go in there personally and do those same things. So one of the questions I have for you, well, this is the question I have for you, is I want a little bit more clarity about when they were saying when they were talking about the Bill Gates Foundation. If you currently have already found a nonprofit, can that nonprofit be ran by the business trust or brought into the business trust? That's the question I have.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I want to say thank you for those kind words, Sam. And I love your mission because you're helping a lot of families. So it's very powerful. And you being here is definitely divinely guided. I will tell you that hands down. Like I know it for a fact. To answer your question, yes. So your nonprofit, it can have a business trust or even the ministry trust be a part of it.
Okay, I'll have that, and then I can always reach out if I have more questions about that. So thank you again. Continue. We pray you have continued blessings over you and protection over you and your family for what you do. So thank you again,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Christina.
You're welcome, Santa. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, next we have Chris.
Hey, Christina, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Awesome. Thank you for everything that you do. You have been amazing, like everyone has said. I agree with everything thus far. My question for you is I went the route of the ordained minister and the family ministry, the ministry trust, sorry. And so I, hmm. I'm sorry. Let me get my thoughts really quick. I know you don't have time. But so my question to you is I know everything you teach us is irrevocable trust. Understand it. Got it. But I've seen a lot of things in regards to me having a mortgage on my home and putting it in a revocable instead of a irrevocable so there is no conflict with um the lien holder. So my question to you is, I know that's what other people have said. I've followed everything you've done to the T. I just want to make sure that I'm overstanding everything in regards to the ministry trust being fine as the irrevocable trust and not having to make it a revocable one.
The ministry trust. Okay, so your family, your house should be in the family trust, not the ministry trust. Okay. The
Even
ministry trust, it is
sorry,
what?
even though I'm gonna run it like a ministry, like I became the ordained minister and I wanted to go that route, which is why I was gonna try to put the house in there. But am I doing that wrong?
I mean, I don't know how you're going to run it. I don't know if you're gonna have, meetings. I don't know what you're gonna do from that standpoint. What I tell people is if this is your primary residence, where you live, where your children live, it needs to go into the family trust. So a lot of people run it differently. I do know of one of our students, she put it in the family trust, excuse me, the ministry trust, and she's fine. And that's because she holds retreats and she does like healing practices, and she has people actually physically come to the land and gather and do all of these things that she's doing. and running her ministry. So I'm not sure how you're going to be operating. Now, for the ministry to be irrevocable, that's just the contract, and that's just to safeguard everything that the organization is doing. So it is okay for it to be irrevocable. A lot of people's concern and why they want to route you towards it being revocable is because they don't know what your position is in the organization. So they don't want you to be locked out from the organization. That's why they're going to tell you not to do it as irrevocable, because they think that you're going to be the grantor. So as long as you don't serve in that position, then you're fine.
Awesome. I appreciate you like always. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, then we have Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, lady.
Hey.
Number one, everybody is so correct on this. Me coming in for the second time, but what was I don't even know what I was going to ask you now, but I just wanted to let you know that I am so blessed with you. I can't express it enough. Okay, about that paying, like, say that I with the what I was telling him about the doing business as, my entity, and
Yes, ma'am.
me putting out like the ESs to pay myself, like but I didn't want to do the revocable. Like, where would I put them funds then? In the business, doing business as?
Yes. It sounds
Okay.
like it's business activity. If it's business activity, then the money goes into the business trust.
Okay. And a question, I put it in the chat, but I guess you didn't see it because the GOM lady was in it.
I might have, yeah, I might have overlooked it. I'm sorry. Go for it.
That's okay. No, that's okay. For the EIN I was doing for the you were talking so fast, which I do too, but anyway,
Yes.
being from Brooklyn and all, I was just getting on and I couldn't get it on my other phone real quick. The US address. Now we just want to put the virtual one in, right? Because
Yes,
it has
absolutely.
on both, correct?
Yep,
So that would
absolutely.
be okay.
Yep,
So
you're
that
gonna
would
use
be
a virtual
no.
address. Yeah.
Okay. For
Yep, that
both of
would be
them.
no other US address. So it's only the virtual address that you're providing. You're not gonna provide them with no other address.
Okay. All right. And then I can't think now. You caught me off guard. I'm over here doing
Oh no,
paperwork.
it's okay. It's okay, Lisa. I appreciate
Like I
being
said,
here.
all right, I got a quote. I had a couple. The other one was good. It was like right on that day too. But
Yeah.
most worries are reruns. That's today's quote. And tomorrow's quote is love doesn't make the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile. So there you have
Wow,
it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much.
You
Thank
know
you,
what?
thank
You're a
you, thank you.
sweetheart. Yep, you are a sweetheart. God love you. You have a blessed rest of your weekend. Have a great holiday.
Yes, you too, Lisa. Thank you so much. I
All right.
appreciate you being here, a part of the community, and I
I
appreciate you
tried.
attending workshops when you're able to. So thank you so much for being
Yeah.
here.
All right. You take care, honey.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Next we have Elevate. I like that name. I like the way you spell it, Elevate with the 8. All right, Elevate.
Hey,
Are
Christine, how
you
you doing? Yeah,
okay?
Elevate is the company.
Okay, I like
How you
that.
doing today?
I'm
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
I'm elevated.
definitely looking. Yeah. Oh, that's what we do. Anybody get in our community, same as your community, they get elevated.
Yeah,
You'll never be the
yeah.
same. So my question is, I know we talked about the Ghana before, so I'm not gonna really touch on that because that was one of make sure she explained everything. Um, regarding the so I have the company you're talking about right now, Elevate. So I wanted to put that, I own 50% of that company. Do I have to, because my business partner own the other 50%, can I just put my 50% in there without having to go through anything with him? Because it's separate. I didn't want, to mingle that.
When you say not go through anything with him, so are you saying Are you saying that your 50% ownership, you want to put it into a business trust?
Yes, without having to put him down on the trust.
Correct. Yes, you can do that, but his name is still
Okay.
going to be on the LLC.
Okay. C Corp. Okay.
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 So, you're okay with that? Is he okay with that? You're okay with that? As long
Yeah,
as you
that's not an issue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you can put your portion into the business trust. So, absolutely.
Also, the IUL thing, I know I got to get with you on that. I had talked to you the other day. I just wanted to see if you had a person, because I wasn't able to get in touch with the I forgot her name that we talked to last time that she was talking about the IULs, and that never came about. So definitely whoever you have to connect with that.
We do. I was waiting for them to send me a link for like the form
Okay.
that you should fill out, or the calendar link. So if you could text me
Okay.
on that, then I should have the link by then.
Okay, I'm sending it to you right now. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. And enjoy your
You're
weekend too.
welcome. You too. Thank you. All right. Next we have Cynthia. You're welcome,
Hello, it's
Andres.
me
Thank you. Have
again.
a great weekend. Hi.
Hi there. I just want to say ditto to all of the accolades that everyone prior to me has spoken. This has been, I tell you, it's really been on time. You know how they say he's an on time God. If you're religious and you're saying this was on time, and just like someone else had mentioned, here I am trying to prepare this information for my family, and so it's of time sensitive nature with this home house that we have found a family for. And this family, prayers can go out to them. The mother, it's a family, a husband, wife, and they have two daughters and a son. And the older daughter, is somewhat disabled, and there was a predator who had targeted her online to what do you call it? Sex predator. And so now they are trying to, find safe housing. So we have been the blessing for her and her family, and we want to provide them with this home. And so, in looking at your video with the three, the different three types of trust, and in terms of the FBO, we're looking at trying to settle the agreement to where it's donations that they will be contributing to the ministry. And can you speak to that specifically? How we would how do I and I've approached her about it, but I want to know the appropriate way to approach her about it, and in a way that she will know it's not like tax evasion. You're talking about actual donations for where she's living. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so the property would have to be owned by the ministry. And if you're providing them with temporary housing, and if they want to be able to donate to the ministry for providing them with temporary housing, then they can give those donations to the ministry. So what you would have to do is make them members of the ministry. So they have to go through that whole membership process. So everyone who is going to, be involved and use that property as shelter, they will be members of the organization, and then they will provide donations to the organization for anything that the organization is doing for them, or for anything that they are doing for the organization.
Okay, perfect. I think I understand that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Cynthia. All right, next we have Ashley. Hey, Ashley, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. I wanted to piggyback. I did hear some portion of it earlier, and I'm asking these questions on behalf of Eric. I don't know if you remember him from Jersey's Concrete, but he's at work. So He has me asking a few questions. He's why put a 501c1a into a trust when it's already its own thing. That's why I wanted to know about why is it in a irrevocable trust?
It is a irrevocable trust. You're not putting
Okay.
it into you're not putting it into a trust.
Okay.
So it
All
is
right. Because
it is its own entity, and the entity's contract is an irrevocable trust.
okay. So it's already in it of itself a trust.
Correct.
And there's no way to separate that from, what you have as the for us putting it in. There's no way to separate that from the trust that you already have set up, or is that just how?
What do you mean there's no way for us to separate it from the trust that you have set up? So all these entities are separate entities. They're not all one entity. They're all
Right,
separate.
right. So the ministry,
It doesn't have to be connected at all. So if you don't want it to be connected to the other trusts, in a sense, it's not. The only thing that connects it is that one trust does a contribution to the other trust. That's what connects it.
okay. So putting it down, what I'm trying to say is putting it down, putting it in, it's already a trust itself. When you pull up on the IRS website, the 50C1A is already a trust.
Correct. So you're not
Okay.
putting it into anything. I think there's a little bit of confusion there. So,
Right. That's why I was just
right.
trying to make sure.
No, it's its own island. You're not putting it into anything. It's not in nothing.
Okay, great. Gotcha. That was it. I just needed the clarification on that because he was like, why is a 501c1a, why is it in a revocable trust? And I'm like, I think it's the same thing. It's a trust itself. So
Correct.
yeah, he was a bit confused, so he wanted me to ask so that I could get some clarity on it's already itself a trust. But thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Ashley. Thank you. All right, then we have Ms. Dina. Hey, Ms. Dina.
Hi, Christina. I just
Hi.
want to say, first of all, thank you. Just thank you for walking in your gift, walking in your purpose, accepting the assignment to be the one to help those who don't know. Like the other young man, you came into my life at a very dark time in my life. And it was just like you came into my dark room, took me by the hand, and literally led me out, and the light, just shine on me, and I did the Lord. Everything is so different now. I look at things so much different now, and I thank you for doing that. I am totally grateful. It's an honor to be doing life with you. It is truly an honor to be doing life with you, because some people come in your life and can make your life miserable, but I thank God for the people like you that help make people's life amazing. So thank you, Miss Christine, for just being you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you so much, Miss Dina. Thank you, thank you, thank you for saying that. You're right. I'm just here to be that guiding light. And so I'm very happy that I'm able to assist you in any way, shape, or form. It could be the smallest thing as putting a smile on your face to the biggest thing as helping you get structured. So just know that I'm, here for you throughout the whole process. And I'm just so glad that you're a part of the community. And I'm glad that, whenever you have time, you come into these workshops because your presence is just very rewarding. Last time in the last workshops, you call it the triplets. And
Oh, yes, they're doing well. My triplets are doing well. Thank God. They're growing. I'm funding them. They are the one got their grant coming. And so I'm very happy for them. People will say, what you mean you got triplets? When you got triplets, I said, if you
I
don't know,
know,
that means you're not in it. So I don't even
I
try to
know.
explain. I trust you. I gave birth to triplets, whether y'all want
I
to believe it or not.
It is
I
so
am very
beautiful, Miss Dina. Listen, this is what I'm saying. It's so good to be in this Zoom call with your other people, your other wealthy trustees, your like people,
You
because
are my
you
family.
you made it so contagious that everyone else is saying it. Like I was on the phone with somebody a couple days ago answering their questions, and like I got quadruplets.
That's
Dina got
right.
triplets, I got
That's right.
quadruplets.
That's what's up. That's right. And we got to let
Yeah,
them know what we have been blessed to give birth to. We got to let it be known.
exactly.
And so I
Yes.
tell them like that. I gave birth to my triplets and they're doing well and they are growing. And so I'm just thanking you for leading me on this path. And now listen, Miss Dina don't like to fly, but I am trying to get to Ghana with you all. I am considering
Oh,
strongly. I don't know how long the flight is,
listen.
but I'm definitely considering going. And if it
Yes,
can be
please
worked out,
come.
I will be going.
Yes, Miss Tina, please come. Oh my God, that would be so rewarding for us. You put a big smile on my face just now. Just thank you for being like just such a valuable member here. Like I appreciate you so much and I love you from the moon and back. So thank you,
All
Miss
right.
Tina.
Love you right back and all of my
Yes,
wealthy trusted community.
yes,
Wealth
exactly.
family.
Yes. And I'm so appreciative to everybody who has stayed on. So we're going to hear from Tamika and then we're going to wrap it up, everyone. But I'm just so excited that we are about to conclude day 5 because that means that you guys have gone through hours and hours and hours of training in the last 5 days. Wow. And you guys stayed on. So, hey, Miss Tamika.
Hi, Christina. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. This has been such the week, a wealth of information. And like you said, processing is certainly going to be necessary to make sure that, all this sticks. I'm a newbie to the community, and this is just a wonderful group of people, and your leadership is beautiful as well. So I appreciate you sharing your knowledge. And I had a couple more questions that I wanted to ask to try to wrap it up for the week.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for
Okay.
those kind words. You ask any question that you need.
Okay. I remember in the family trust segment where you mentioned about any entity could serve as the grantor for
Correct.
your trust. And I guess my question is, when we were filling out the documents for the IRS, they asked for a social. Would we put the EIN in that place?
Yeah, so that's the only issue is that you will not be able to do the online version. You would have to do the physical version. So you have to download the SS4 form and
Okay.
then you would have to fill it out and fax it and mail it in to the IRS if it is an entity.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. And then a question that just kept coming up in my head is, we're doing this as a FBO, the 508c1A. Of course, traditionally, you always hear about the 501c, and this was new information with the 508. I'm trying to figure out the pros and cons of the differences. They do the same thing, but it clearly is a lower barrier of entry on the 508. So why do people do a 501 outside of getting that IRS determination letter? I'm thinking out loud too, because I'm thinking they want to be able to apply for those grants, which you cannot do with a 508, but they
Yeah,
still
you're
serve
right.
the very much same purpose. And I guess there's a privacy thing that's involved too, because with the 508, it has more privacy than the 501 would. So I'm just looking to see what your thought process is with that on, they do the same thing ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, so yes, they do the same thing. So people that are unaware of the existence of a 508 go down the 501c3 route, right? One, they do it for federal grants, as you mentioned. So, and because they need to be registered publicly because they're doing things publicly, whatever it is that they're doing, right? So those are the reasons why they go down that route. Some people just don't know about it. That's really what it boils down to. Some people already have the 501 and they don't want to give it up, right? And I wouldn't tell anyone to give it up if they already have it, right? But if you don't have it,
Yeah.
then why not start in that, start and go in that direction, right? So the 508 is, as we mentioned, right, that mandatory exception to not having to file, for the 501c3. So that's pretty much like the main difference with them. So, and like you said, the privacy, but honestly, I feel like it's just people not being aware of it. That's what it
Mhm.
really is.
Yeah, because I've been asking around and everyone's like, what in the world is a
What
508?
is
And I'm
it?
like,
What is
it
it?
is
What is it?
it's very much the same thing, but you've got that full application process that you got to do for the 501. It's just harder to do a 501 than it is a 508. It's just very much easier to do the 508, it seems. But
Yeah,
from what I
and
can
the
see too,
508, yeah, the 508 is because of the separation between church and state, right? So if there's the separation between church and state, churches shouldn't have to go down the 501c3 route, but they don't know that. So
very
that's
good.
that's that's really what it is.
Thank you, my dear.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Tamika said, "I'm a newbie." We are so glad that you decided to become a part of the community. So I hope that you are inside of Facebook and Telegram. I hope everyone has been able to introduce themselves and, just get acclimated with what we do, in those apps. So, with that being said, we are going to conclude our workshop. Like I said, it was a lot of information, a wealth of knowledge and information. So, I have two pieces of homework for you. So, the first one is that we sent you a survey. So, it is inside of your inbox. So, if you have time today or this weekend, if you could please fill out the survey. Like Ayana said, whenever you guys provide recommendations to us, we implement them quickly because this is a growing community. So we have over 1,200 people in our community. And if you're providing us with the feedback that we need, we're going to improve our processes. All the processes, our policies, our procedures, everything that we do, we are going to constantly improve it because of the growing community and just the demand, right? We want to be able for you to have the best experience possible. So if you could fill out that survey, that would be amazing. The next piece of homework is to book a call with Jeff Badu and his team so that you guys can start to get familiar with what you need to do in order to prepare for that 1041, okay? And I don't recommend that you guys do it yourself. I recommend that you go with Jeff and his team because when I tell you they know the ins and outs, they really, really, really do. And in order for you to utilize this strategy efficiently and effectively, you do need that type of you do need those individuals on your team, okay? The next thing that I want you guys to know is our next workshop. So we're gonna have we have a calendar, and so you guys probably seen the calendar inside of Telegram and Facebook. So we're going to have a Q&A session. So that's going to be a live Q&A on Zoom. We're going to have it September 9th. And then our next workshop is going to be September 29th to October 3rd. And then I do have a real estate masterclass coming for you guys. It's going to be on Thursday. I'm not sure what Thursday. It's probably going to be the 11th. Is dealing with real estate. So one of our educators is going to come in and teach you guys about private equity funding and pretty much real estate investment strategies. So those are the things that are upcoming for September. You guys are also invited to two conferences that I'm going to be speaking at. So one is in Miami, Florida on September 17th, and that is what is the name of it? I think it's Brickell Wall Street. So it's about investments. So if you guys are interested in investments and real estate investing, and I'm heavy into real estate, so you're always going to hear real estate, real estate, real estate. And then we're going to have, so potentially we're working on it right now to have a networking mixer on the 18th in Miami. And then on Friday, not Friday, but Saturday the 20th, I'm going to be speaking at a conference here in Atlanta, and that one is also about real estate as well. So it's with one of our educators, Abdul Shabazz. He teaches about the mobile home investing, and he has other guest speakers on there that's going to be teaching about real estate, and I'm going to be one of those guest speakers. So you guys are all invited. So you will be able to receive the links in order for you to get enrolled, and just more information on like the location and things of that nature. And then you'll also get the links for our Zoom meetings. So with that being said, I just want to thank every single one of you guys for attending the workshop, for staying the entire time, and for just being a light in this beautiful space that we cultivated here on Zoom. So without further ado, you guys have an amazing, amazing, amazing weekend. If it's a longer weekend for you, then enjoy. I know it's going to be a longer weekend for me, so I'm ready for the kiddos to get home and for us to start enjoying ourselves. So,
Me too.
and if you, right, and if you guys need any help, if you have any questions, my team is available to assist. So you can always call the number where you receive the text messages. You can always text back and you'll get a response from my team. And you can always send us an email, info@7waystowealth.com. So bye everyone. Have an amazing rest of your weekend, and I'll see you very soon. And I love you guys so much.
Love you too.
Ditto.
Bye
Ditto.
bye.
Everybody enjoy your weekend. Be safe.
Yes, 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 yes. Bye, everyone.
Hey, I see you look good in that burgundy too, huh?
Thank you. It's thank you. I appreciate that. Right?
Hat.
Yes.